Today we're looking at ski helmets, and specifically maybe a little comparison between resort skiing helmets and backcountry skiing helmets. Is there a difference? What are those differences? Does it even matter? So here's just a pretty good example. This is my helmet. I've used resort skiing for years and years. Your classic Smith Variance, I think. But it's pretty standard as far as a resort skiing helmet goes. And it's a great helmet. Love using it. You know, it has your goggle attachment, has your visor, has some venting that you can open and close. Warm, you know, works well, lasts a long time. And then this is one of the helmets that we've used backcountry skiing now for a few years, both Danny and I. Mine's a little more eye-catching in the yellow colorway. Danny has the white, but they both have worked really well. And you'll notice that construction-wise, if you just compare it, just a little more simple and minimal. So there's no adjustable venting, that's all done away. There's just kind of open vents, which backcountry skiing, usually most of us value ventilation, breathability over trying to keep any heat in while we're backcountry skiing. The liner's a little bit more minimal, and oftentimes backcountry skiing helmets, you know, you can take the liner out, such as this one, use it without the liner just as a helmet. Many backcountry skiing helmets, such as this one, are multi-certified. I can't remember exactly the specs on this, you can look it up, but it means that they're certified for skiing and climbing and maybe even biking, I think. But if that's important to you, then maybe investing in a backcountry ski helmet is worth it. Now, the biggest difference, or the biggest reason I see, is weight. You know, a helmet like this, which is actually one of the more lighter weight resort helmets, comes in about 20 ounces, so about 1.5 pounds, where Salomon MTN, it's about 14 ounces. So that's, you know, we're talking a 0.5 pound about, or maybe a little less, just in one piece of equipment. Does it make a huge difference? Not in just one piece of equipment, but if you start thinking about your whole backcountry skiing kit, if you could shave 5 ounces off every single piece that you carry up the mountain, you're taking pounds off of your pack or equipment. Things to look for, number one, any backcountry skiing helmet, or any helmet for that matter, is kind of like when we talk about goggles or sunglasses, fit, or maybe ski boots, you know, fit comes down to be the number one deciding factor. So it doesn't matter if it's the coolest, has the best reviews, you got to put it on your head and make sure it does fit. Interestingly enough, here's a couple of other backcountry skiing specific helmets. This one is made by Julbo. It is called the Peak helmet. And this is one made by Movement. It is called the 3-Tech Alpi. And I am almost 100% convinced that these three helmets are either all made by Salomon or they're all made in the same factory. If you look at like the goggle attachment, little clips, you look at these two helmets, just kind of the shape, construction, look at the back of them, they all are identical. Some of the venting on these two is very similar. They all have a BOA adjustment, which is pretty standard, although the Salomon uses a little bit different adjustment than some of these. But yeah, like I said, I'm pretty convinced that these are all made like in the same factory at least. But interestingly enough, they all fit a tiny bit different. Like the shape on the inside is just a little bit different between each one. So I would say when you're shopping for helmets, you got to try them on, you know, or at least order online from somewhere with a good return policy. I mentioned the ability to maybe remove the liner, use it without. I do that with this helmet in the spring quite a bit. Maybe I'll just use a headband underneath it. Or if you're the type that likes to tour just in a beanie and leave that beanie on, then the Salomon helmet makes it very, very simple to just take that liner out. And easy to put in, just, you know, Velcro, run the straps through the loops. And then the other thing I would look at is goggle compatibility. Like I said, these are all made in, you know, are very similar helmets, but I've tried different pairs of goggles with each one, and they each fit a little bit differently with the same pair of goggles. I will say that the Salomon MTN helmet works exceptionally well, no surprise, with Salomon goggles. I've used it with their X Max goggle and their brand new S Max goggle, and it like seals here in front on the brim like it was made for each other. It probably was. The Salomon goggles work pretty good with these other two helmets as well. The Julbo goggles work pretty good with the Julbo helmet. Not as good as the Salomon works with the Salomon helmet, but they do work well. They did not work well with, I think, the movement. Anyway, so look at that as well. If you're shopping for helmets, take your goggles with you. If you're shopping for goggles, take your helmets with you, and that just makes life easier. You can avoid the dreaded goggle gapper gap. There is one step further you can take for our longest missions, and if it's more of kind of a mountaineering mission, and it's super long, and we're just trying to cut every ounce of weight that we can, because we know it is going to, be that type of long day. Both Danny and I invested in the Wall Rider helmet. This is my favorite super lightweight climbing helmet. The number one reason being that it is the least stupid looking climbing helmet out on the market. The Petzl version of kind of the same design is bulbous. There's a couple of others, and you can wear it skiing. It even has what you'd call like a goggle attachment. I think it's for like headlamps as well. You can wear it skiing, and it actually looks almost like a ski helmet, and not like you should be wearing Lycra head to toe doing some skimo race like a lot of the super light ski helmets. Disclaimer, I don't know if this is certified for skiing. I'll just say that we do mountaineering carrying our skis when we wear this helmet. This helmet comes in at like 8 ounces. So that's half the weight even of these helmets. So now you're talking about something that really sheds a ton of weight, and you will feel that. There you have our mediocre comparison between resort skiing helmets, which work just fine in the backcountry if you're budget conscious, or just don't want the hassle, or just want to have one helmet in your quiver. Use your resort helmet, works great. If you want to try a backcountry skiing helmet, you may find that the weight will be noticeable in your pack. It could be a little more versatile, just being able to use it in multi-seasons and activities. And there might be some style points as well, because you know how we love bright colors in our backcountry wardrobe. There you have it, backcountry skiing helmets.